Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robyn LaVassaur. They say our biggest fear isn't being inadequate, it's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild with Robyn LaVassaur. This topic for me is one that I feel like honestly has gotten lost over the last couple years. And it probably really got lost during COVID. I know everybody doesn't always like to look back, but there is that reflection time, right? You look through the windshield most of the time because it's the largest thing that we can see through. But once in a while, you always have to check that rear view mirror. It's dawned on me as I was really thinking about checking the rear view mirror that during COVID, so many things got replaced. What really got replaced in the mortgage industry was oftentimes the face-to-face, obviously, that got replaced, right? Even the Zooms, right? It turned into phone calls, turned into web applications, it turned into uploading documents, and loans came in so easily for so many people that all of the work, the years that many of us had put in previously to create a client experience, all of a sudden felt unnecessary, unneeded, maybe even unaccomplishable, if that's an official word. And so we moved to technology, quick use, communication, maybe even speed and execution. What that really did was I talk a lot about commodity versus value. And value isn't just, hey, you got to work with me, the loan officer, so replace that with, whatever business you're in and what title you're taking. It's really about how a client feels and how you are differentiating yourself during that transaction. So definition of differentiation, right? The ability to sell a service or product without lowering your price. Think about that again. Ability to sell service or product without lowering your price. Differentiation. Well, COVID, the differentiating factor for some was simply you could call somebody back on a refinance quicker than another lender. Some were 10 days before they could call people back. That's how crazy the industry was. It might have been that your pre-approval letter was going to get accepted over another lender's in a very highly competitive multiple offer situation, and or that you had the means to get the faster appraisal done, which also can become a very big issue. And so there were little things that you could do to differentiate, but everything else was often online. Upload documents, click here, click there. I'm on the phone with you, rarely saw each other. As everything has shifted, we've gotten really back to in-person. We've struggled plugging back in experience. In fact, I think we've swept it under the rug to where we didn't even notice. Experience actually has so much to do, in my opinion, with whether or not you fall in love with mortgage. Just running numbers, just solving problems, just getting paperwork from one person to the next or one portal to the next portal to get the I's dotted and the T's crossed and the paperwork signed to hand the keys over. If you really are thinking about it, that's a transaction. It's not an experience. And the industry / COVID fell prey to becoming transactional. We're long beyond COVID. We're a couple years in, almost 3, to a very, very different market. And yet I see very few people creating a client experience. To me, a client experience includes one word, and that word is wow. Now, here's what I think we all think. That means no problems on a loan. It's actually quite the opposite. It really has nothing to do with how easy or hard a loan is. You wouldn't ever go into a surgery and have a doctor say to you, this is going to be so fun. This is going to be so simple. There's easy, don't worry about a thing. No, instead, they're like, let us tell you all of these things. You're going to feel like crap. You probably are going to need pain medicine. There's this, and this for the next steps. If you experience this or this, give us a call. We don't anticipate any bumps, but if there are, we'll let you know, or you need to let us know, right? There's paperwork they send home with you that references all the problems that could take place. The experience is not about what happens during the transaction. The experience are things that you create outside of the transaction that differentiate you. When I think about my business over all of the years, I spent years not really creating an experience other than being, I think, a pretty likable person and knowledgeable as a loan officer and getting to know my clients. So that was a big win. I definitely spent time getting to know my clients and what they wanted. Other than that, there wasn't a whole bunch of experience. In fact, I was the guilty loan officer who drove around with a thank you gift in their car for like 6 months, to the point where it got embarrassing to actually deliver the gift because it'd been too long. And so how do you do little things that create an experience? I want you, first of all, to write down all the things that you think are experience differentiation. What are you doing? Do you even see the clients face to face? Are you on Zoom? Do you get to know everybody? Do you ask about pet names and maybe honor the true whys of why they're buying a home and what's exciting to them? Do you find out any memories from the past or what they want to create in the future? Do you honor those in any way with gifting or a nice little touch that makes them feel the difference in working with you? Do they feel important? Do they feel seen? Do they feel potentially like your only client? And like your only goal is to make sure that they had a raving fan experience. And the one word I would attach to that entire thing is wow. Meaning, it's not that I didn't have to give you extra documents. It's not that there weren't some bumps and bruises along the way. It's that I felt wow in how well you took care of me. That's what I want as a client, right? I want to be seen, heard, and felt very taken care of. People often, right, do not care what you know until they know how much you care. That's just a cliche saying, and it couldn't be truer in the mortgage industry. And so if you are lacking in client experience, make a list. Feel free to reach out to me. I would love to shoot you over everything that we've ever done in client experience and how to implement, from books to photos. Nothing that costs a ton of money, but simply is making sure that the client knows that they are important to us, that we truly want them to be a client for life, and we want the experience of buying a house by working with myself and my team to be top-notch and one they will never soon forget.